Good afternoon. What's happening, man? It's coming to 5 o'clock. You just arrived home? No, I didn't. I arrived home like 30, 40 minutes ago. I went over my book today. I started going over my book yesterday. Right now, I'm polishing up Volume 3. Polishing up some of the dialogue. That way you know who's talking. And I also add a few. Like yesterday, I added quite a bit to the dispute with the Northerners and Stallions. I added that part. I added a bit more to the scenes. Yeah. Obviously. Why are you editing Volume 3? Because my younger brother didn't go through Volume 3. He only went through like the beginning of Volume 3 and that's it. And Volume 3, you can argue, is the most raw. It has the most stiff dialogue. And so I want to go over it just to polish up a little bit before I send it to the proofreader. I have to save my money, right? Yeah, I go upstairs, I get a coffee, I do 5 pages. Yesterday I did, I think, 7 pages of editing. I went through 7 pages. Today right now I just finished going through 5 pages. I add a few. I leave everything pretty much the way it is, but I add a few things to make it a bit better, obviously, when I go over Volume 3, right? Because Volume 3, I'm going to give you a heads up. Volume 3, you can argue, is the most raw of the 3 volumes. Hence why some fans might think it's the worst. And I take the story in a totally different direction. You don't expect that in Volume 3. Volume 3 is my favorite because that's when the story gets deep and dark. It's a dark episode of Taki's life. But you can argue Volume 2 is better, obviously. Some fans might even like... A lot of fans are going to like Volume 2 perhaps better than Volume 3. Some fans might even think Volume 3 is the worst. Because I take the story in a totally different direction. Some center. Oh. You tired of it? Yeah, I'm pretty tired. Today was not that busy at Coco Fruity. But I told you, it took me 2 hours again to close. I finished my break at 1:30. I ended at like 4:40. So it took me 2 hours and like 10 minutes to close. I had to wash the dish pit. The guy helped me with the garbage, but I had to mop the front of the restaurant. And I was tired, man. I was tired again. Yeah, Coco Fruity's a lot of work. That's why I applied. I've been applying to many jobs, man. So far, I applied to 3 places. Snack Shack, McDonald's, and Tim Hortons at Elmer. Obviously. I think next week I'm going to apply to the Tim Hortons near the Darcy in Elmer. I'm going to apply to A&W's too. I'm going to apply there too. Apply as much places as you can. Even now, you strengthen your chances of getting a job, right? Yeah. Yeah, and the guy who I worked with last week, there was a Slovakia guy. Yeah, a Russian guy, whatever it is. I worked with him last week. He quit too, man. He said they told me he moved to Slovakia. I think it's bullshit. I think he lied. And he doesn't want to work there, yeah. Because if he really moved to Slovakia, wherever he lives, why the fuck would he take the job for a 1-day shift? The guy probably made an excuse he doesn't want to work there. Yeah, I told you, man. Coco Fruity, the work is too much. All the dishwashers who work there quit because it's too much work. Closing there is not fun, man. It's a lot of work. You have like a bunch of plates. Today closing was okay. It wasn't that bad today. But I know tomorrow it's going to be crazy and Sunday it's going to be crazy. But they hired another dishwasher. So they hired so far 2 dishwashers in like 3 weeks. And 2 of the dishwashers quit at Coco Fruity. And that's how you know no one likes working dishwashing at Coco Fruity. It's too much work. Yeah. And Dinty's cut my hours. Now I work once a week. Because the restaurant's slow. It's either the restaurant's slow or the gates, they don't want me saving my money, obviously. They cut out even hours, I don't know. But they told me the restaurant's slow. That's probably why they cut my hours. Now I work once a week. Next week I work twice at Dinty's. And after that I'm only working once a week. But if I'm only working once a week, there's no point in me working there. It's not worth having 2 jobs if you're only working once a week, right? So it's like, but I like working at Dinty's, but like, hopefully I get my hours back. Yeah. Yeah. I hope I get that McDonald's job or the Tim Hortons job or the snack shack. I applied to snack. Remember when I vlogged there, guys? Yeah, I applied there. I applied as a line cook. Yeah, a line, right? Working line. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm tired of dishes? Yes, man. Dinty's I don't mind. Dinty's dishes at Dinty's is not that bad. But Coco Fruity is fucking crazy, man. It's too much work. You have to take out too many boxes, too many garbages. The garbages at Coco Fruity is ongoing. Like, let's say you have a bunch of garbage you take out. After 3 hours, you have another bunch of cardboard and garbage you have to take. It's crazy, man. And closing is not fun at Coco Fruity, man. When I go on break and I see the whole dish pit full, I'm like, fuck, man, you're tired. You're like, you have to clear it. It's not fun. That's why all the dishwashers quit. And I know if I quit Coco Fruity, the Coco Fruity boss might be a bit, he might be a bit pissed off because he knows like me and Anthony are the only ones who persevered and we put up with the dirty work. But eventually the dirty work caught up to us, man. Anthony worked at Coco Fruity for almost 3 years. The dirty work eventually got to him and he ended up quitting. I worked here for 2 years and now the dirty work at Coco Fruity is getting to me. I'm very exhausted. After I go on break, I see the dish pit full. I'm very exhausted, man. I have to clear it. It's very stressing on my body and stressing psychologically on my mind. Yeah. The Coco Fruity boss knows, yeah, if I even quit, I'm going to have a tough time finding a full-time dishwasher. The chances are those dishwashers are going to quit too. Yeah, they're going to quit, man. Some of them might stay, but even if they stay for maybe a year or 2 years, eventually the dirty world will get to them. They're going to end up finding another job because dishwashing at Coco Fruity is not fun. It's not fun. It's a lot of work. Closing is crazy there, man. Yeah. I showed you guys that picture on my phone, right? You saw those mountain dishes? Yeah, man. I have to wash it every day. Yeah. 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 So have you ever volume 3 you're hooked? Yeah, I went over volume 3 yesterday, today. I was fucking hooked. My book is sick, man. Yeah, my book is sick. That's why volume 3 you argue is the best. You can also argue volume 2 is better. You can even argue volume 1 is better than volume 3 if you want it. Depends how the art hits you. Some people might like volume 3 the best. Because volume 3 is volume some people might like volume 1 the best because volume 1 is more linear. Obviously. What volume is the least linear? Volume 2. Volume 2 you have 4 different stories going on. Whereas volume 1 is more linear. Like the first half of it is about the Northerns. Tactes, Acetonius, Meramis, Cassis, and all of them in the north. And once Tactes leave the walls, you have 2 stories. You have Cassius Acetonius' story, and you have Tactes' story with Sirius and Papyri. So volume 1's the most linear, like Fellowship of the Ring, right? And volume 2 is when you have 4 stories going on. You have Eretat and the Wolves. Obviously, you have Tacetonius and Cassius. You have Tactius and Sirius and Papyri and all of them. And you also have Queen Sarah and Meramis and Lithius and Xanus. You have 4 stories going on. Obviously. And in Volume 3, you have pretty much 2 stories going on. You have Queen Sarah and all of them, and only for the first half of Volume 3, right? Volume 3 is more linear than Volume 2. Volume 2 is when you have the most stories, different stories, like you do in Two Towers, right? You have the different stories, yeah. Obviously. And that's why the gates are not touching the money on my book, man. You have me work these shitty jobs, obviously, and you sabotage my fucking tax. I remember my stepfather told me, "Oh, you made $26,000 last year." I'm like, "There's no way I made $26,000 last year." Last year at Coco Fruity, they cut my hours out. Last year at Coco Fruity, I was only working like 3 to 4 shifts a week. Denty's, I was working 1 shift and 2 shifts a week. There's no way I made $20,000. They sabotaged my tax. That's why I have to pay the government back, because they sabotaged my tax. I did not make $26,000 last year. That's bullshit. The year before that, I worked more than I did 2024. 2023, I was full time at Coco 40, working 5 days a week. And 2024, I was working like 3-4 days a week, sometimes even 2 days a week. And they said, yeah, I probably only made maybe, I don't know, maybe 8 grand working at 7 grand or something like that, working at Denty's. And I made maybe maybe 12, 13, 14,000 working at over 40. They said I made 26,000. That's bullshit. They sabotaged my tax. Yeah, I don't believe that for 1 second. Hansel Ivan, you have to save your money, man. You can't rely on your tax. You can't trust the families. They can sabotage your tax. Just save your money. You save a good 300, 400, 350 a pay. If you save a good like 350 of your Coco 40, 350 of your Coco 40 money, and like 160 of Virginia's money, you're saving a good 450, 500. You can save maybe 4 grand by the end of the year. That's enough to get your book proofread and design your cover. You know, you can't trust the gatekeepers, Ivan. They can sabotage your tax. Yeah. You think it's a coincidence that 2023 I made 4 grand? This year they say I owe the government. It's sabotage, man. The gates lock the doors of me. Yeah, don't let Ivan make his like $3,000. Because if he makes that money, he can get his book proofread. That's why they sabotage my tax. I know my tax is sabotaged. I'm not stupid, man. The gates are wicked people, yeah. I pay all my fucking taxes, man. You're saying you withheld your taxes from us. No, man. Every time I get my checks, I pay all my fucking taxes, and now I owe the government. It's bullshit, obviously. Yeah. 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 That's why the gate's not touching my money. You have me work these shitty jobs for almost. When I pay the fee, I'll be like pushing 40. So you have me work shitty minimum jobs for 40 years. The billions are the most for me, VJ. You're not touching my money, man. This is me and my wife's money. It's not yours. Yeah. Some saying. I don't know, the 12 million bucks I make off the book, that's me, VJ's money. It's not yours. You're not touching my money. All the trillions of the world goes to you. These billions are for me and VJ, but you don't want me to be king because you don't want me to control my money, obviously. Yeah. Because the gates control everything in the world, they also want it's their house. Anyone who controls my money, they see as a thief. And because I have the keys, I can control my money. They see me as a thief. They want to control my money, but you don't deserve to control my money. You're not God. You didn't create this place. That's why God gave me the keys. That way I can control my money and I can be king. And the gates don't touch my money. If you want to control your money, you have to open your own door. And you can't sell to any gatekeeper. I have to give you the keys. That's why God gave me the keys. That way I can control my money with VJ. And nobody touches our money. Yeah. Some Sarah. Yeah. I have to clean my room. It's ain't messy. I'll clean it maybe tomorrow after my shift at Coco 40. I'll clean it. Yeah. Ivan, how much money do you think you made off your book? 10 to 12 to 14 to 20 billion are on there. I might maybe make my 12 billion off the book maybe. And he's Ivan, how much money did you make off your book? By the way, I made $12 million. You made $12 million off your book? I'm like, yeah. She's like, holy shit, that's a lot of money. I know. A lot of money. Yeah. So I've been Cobra Foodie's getting to, yeah, it is. Now that I've worked there for 2 years, the stress of the work is getting to me. It's tough on my body. Every time when I go on break, the dish pit's empty, obviously, right? Once I go on break, it's completely full. And that's why the job really stresses me out. I clear the dish pit, it's empty, I go on break, and it's full of fucking dishes. When I take a 30-minute break, it's full of fucking dishes, man. A bunch of kitchen dishes, plates, you know what I'm saying? The utensils are full, the glasses are full. I'm just like, the sink is full, and I'm like exhausted. I'm like, fuck, man. I gotta wash all this. Yeah, it's depressing. Stressing on the body and stressing on the mind. Because dishwashing is all mental. Hence why I like listening to music, because music helps me with stress. Obviously. Hence why I'm gonna ask the boss, look, man, is it okay if I listen to music on Saturdays when I work alone, because with my headphones, because man, like, music really helps me with stress when I'm washing dishes. It's not fun washing dishes on fucking weekends. But tomorrow I believe I'm working with another dishwasher. I don't think I'm alone, but I hope that dishwasher doesn't quit too, because so far the boss hired 2 dishwashers. Both dishwashers quit. And now this is the 3rd dishwasher they hired. And I hope this guy doesn't quit either. Yeah, because it works too much. I don't want to do that. Oh, yeah, fuck this. I don't want to do this every fucking weekend. It's too much work. Yeah. I want to work here. Yeah. And now I know why the Coco 40 boss hired me. Because he had no dishwasher. That's why he hired me on the spot. And the work is dirty work, man. It's dirty fucking work, yeah. It's dirty work, yeah. 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 Hence why the billions off the books for me, BJ, you're not touching my money, man. I'm gonna be very strict with the gates. You're not touching my money, man. All the trillions in the world goes to you. And you won't let me touch your money. The billions off the book. The Xanus brand is mine. You're not touching my money either. This is my brand. It's not yours. I'm sorry. Yo, I haven't wrote his masterpiece, Baron Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. I want to control that. And if he adapts as the movie, looking at the best story ever told, I know it's gonna be so popular. I want to control that. Yeah, the greedy pigs. But you're not controlling my brand. I have the keys. I'll sell to you. Don't hang with them. Yeah. So, Sarah. Yeah. Yeah. He's Ivan, you made $12 million off Xanus. I'm like, yeah, I did. He said, holy shit, that's a lot of money, Ivan. Are you gonna share that with me? I'm like, yeah, I will, man. Relax. I'm gonna share the money with you, VJ. Chill. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Ivan, what if you don't get the McDonald's job, Tim Hortons, and Snack Shack? I'll apply to more places. I'll still work. I'll just keep working at Coco 40. I'm not going to quit Coco 40 until I know for sure I got another job. I got one of those jobs, but if it's not 100% I have the job, I'm not going to quit Coco 40 because Coco 40 is like my main source of income. That's where I make the bulk of my money, obviously. That's why I'm not going to quit. But if I do get the McDonald's job or the Snack Shack job, A&W's or Tim Hortons, I'm going to give my 2-week notice to the boss. And I'm finding another job because dishwashing is fucking stressing, man. Yeah, man. Stressing shit. Yeah. So, Ivan, some of your writing is a bit raw. Well, you guys read the section of my book. You caught a bit of rawness in some of the dialogue, some stiffness. Ivan could have used better word choices here, but still entertaining than these other fantasy novels that you read, right? I don't have an editor. I did everything myself, hence why, even though I'm a great storyteller, because most of the great authors have editors help polish up their manuscript, whereas me, I did everything myself. And I don't want anyone touching my story. I'd rather leave some of my rawness in there than have someone change my story and ruin my fucking story, right? Yeah, the only thing I really need help in is proofreading. I'm not that knowledgeable with grammar and all that stuff. Hence why for that I need help with. But for the story, I can write it myself. Obviously, but even the greatest storytellers have flaws in their books, obviously. There's some flaws in Xanus too. The character of Eretaz is not developed as well as the humans. The eagles, the crows are not developed as well. And some section of my book is a little bit raw, stiff and raw in some of the dialogue when you read it. What percentage of the book is raw? Even like, I don't know, 0. Maybe 3% of it. A little bit of it's raw. But like 99 point, I don't know, 7% of it is top notch. Yeah. That's why I wrote a masterpiece. And even though Ivan's book was a little bit raw, man, fuck, man, I was entertainment. That was the best fantasy novel I ever read in my life. I know it's a masterpiece, man. My stepmother told me my book's number one. Number one, yeah. Better than Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, a masterpiece, man. Samsara? Why, man? Why don't you make a career as a writer? I'm like, because writing is not my dream. Being an author is not my dream. My dream is being a movie star with VJ. It's not being an author, Samsara. I'd rather be a movie star than be a fucking author. Being an author is cool. It's not as cool as being a movie star, man. Being a movie star is my dream. You get to be featured on the magazines, Sky's Entertainment News, red carpet events. You go world touring if I go world touring, and you get paid your billions for it. For books, I get paid I make more money writing books than I would acting in movies. Obviously, books is more profitable than movies because movies only one member. Only if most people have families, they only buy one movie. So I make more money off books than I do movies, but my dream is to be a movie star. It's not being an author. He's like, Ivan, you can do both. I'm like, yeah, VJ, but like after I do the Xanus movie, I just want to enjoy my time, my first time with you. I'm saying, yeah. Some Sarah? Yeah. Ivan, I loved your video on apologetics on Mariology. I know I'm gifted. I refuted the Mariology doctrine, obviously. It's not scriptural. Yeah. Ivan, are you for Protestantism or Catholicism? It's like a back and forth. Like both different sects, they have good arguments for some of their beliefs. But I don't agree with Sam with intercession of the saints and the Mariology doctrine. There is no scriptural evidence for intercession of the saints, right? Praying to the saints in heaven. There's not much evidence scripturally for that. That's why when Sam debated JP in his debate yesterday, you can argue he lost in that one. I told you in the Mariology doctrine video, it's very tough for Sam to defend the Mariology doctrine and also intercession of the saints. It's tough to defend that because there's not much scriptural evidence for it. That's why Sam he argued he lost to JP, right, in his discussion yesterday. Yeah, and that's why Sam he avoids debating. He avoids debating defending the Mariology doctrine and then intercession of the saints because it's tough to defend it. Like I said in my video, right? Obviously. Yeah. Sidetracking. Yeah. So you think Sam lost to JP in that debate yesterday? You can argue he did. Yeah, he did. You can argue he did lose. He didn't really give much evidence of praying to the saints, right? But I mean, yeah, even though Sam wins the majority of his debates, he's not infallible. He can lose some debates too, right? Yeah, he's not infallible, man. Yeah. It's very rare that he loses, but obviously against JP, you can argue he lost that, but I mean, or you can argue it's a tie. But I mean, it just depends on how you see it, obviously, right? Yeah. Yeah. You think JP is a good debater? I never really saw him debate, obviously, but he has amazing rhetoric like Sam. It was very heated, hence why you can argue it's back and forth. You can even argue Sam lost, obviously. Because JP is also like Sam too. He has amazing rhetoric. He's very, what do you call it? He's very hard on his opponent, just like Sam's very hard on his opponent. He was very hard on Sam when you watch the debate, the discussion they had, obviously. And I predicted, I remember in my Mariology video, I said it's very tough for Sam to defend some of his Catholic beliefs. Yeah. The Mariology thing, which is also intercession of the saints, is a part of the Mariology doctrine, obviously, because Christians believe that you pray to Mary in heaven. But I said in my video, I predicted it, it's very tough for Sam to defend that, hence why you can argue he lost to JP, obviously, not debate. It's tough to defend some of the Catholic beliefs right now. Yeah. It's tough to defend it, yeah. Yeah. When it comes to all the other topics in the Bible, Sam Shamoon usually beats his opponents or not his opponents. When it comes to the Mariology doctrine or the praying to the saints, that's where Sam Shamoon, you can tell he struggles a little bit because it's tough to defend it, man. It's tough to defend it, yeah. Very tough to defend it. That's why he steers away from debating that topic, obviously, right? Because it's tough to defend it, yeah. Ivan, will you ever debate any of those apologists? I might do debates when I'm king. Maybe I rent a venue and I do a debate against Christians and Muslims and on Bible topics. But I have to really like, for me to hold my own, I have to really like, oh yeah, Ivan, you gotta study the scriptures. I have to study the Gospels. I have to really study it. Obviously, because me making these apologetic videos, this is me with very little training, and I still blow your mind, right? Because I'm gifted. I have the gift of heavens. Obviously, God gave me the gifts. Some Sarah. So, if you don't believe in internet intercession with saints, no, I don't. I don't think there's much scriptural evidence for it. Yeah, there's no one in the Bible where it says pray to the saints in heaven. I mean, I don't see any scriptural evidence for that. Yeah, there's some passage you can find here and there, but like you're really being desperate and begging the question: is it really intercession with saints? I mean, yeah, that's why Samson, he struggled. He struggled against JP. JP really what was really he was very aggressive. Yeah, JP's a very aggressive debater, like Sam, obviously, right? They're both very aggressive debaters, obviously. You know. Yeah. So, Ivan, do you believe Catholics are Christians? Yeah, they're Christians, but I don't believe with some of their beliefs. Obviously, the Mary thing, the Mary thing, I think it's idolatry, to be honest. Because why do you need to pray to Mary? Like, why do you need to pray to the saints or pray to Mary for intercession? I mean, like God can do it himself. You don't need to pray to Mary. Mary doesn't have any power. She's a creature. So why do you need to pray to her? I mean. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with putting blessings upon Mary and that kind of stuff, but praying to her, that's a bit weird. It's a bit idolatry, in my opinion, right? And there's no scriptural evidence for praying to Mary in the Bible when you read it. That's why I said in that video, Sam avoids debating those topics. He did a discussion against JP, and look how that went, right? You can argue Sam lost that debate because it's tough to defend the Mariology and praying to the saints, man. It's tough to defend it, man. Some of the Catholic beliefs, right? It's tough to defend it, yeah. Yeah. I'm sidetracking. Yeah. Yeah. Alright, do you think you would be the best apologist in the world if you really studied the scriptures? I don't know about the best, but I'd be one of the best, obviously. I don't think I'm as good as Sam. Sam knows all the scriptures inside and out. I don't think anybody can ever be as good as Sam, but I'd be up there. I'd be one of the best, obviously, if I really studied the scriptures. Yeah. But apologetics is not my dream, obviously. But I might do debates maybe when I'm king. I might debate maybe Muslims and Christians and that kind of stuff on topics. I rent a venue of like 5,000 people. I can afford it. Yeah, and I can do a debate and I can film it. Yeah, I highly doubt it, but yeah. My dream is to be movies or VJs, not doing apologetics. Apologetics is fun, though, man. Apologetics is fun, obviously. Very fun, obviously. Yeah. Are you really like 260? Yeah, I'm like 260. I'm like 262. Yeah. I know why, because I've been working 6 days a week for the past, like, 3 months. Obviously. And even though I ate a lot of junk food, I eat like one meal a day. Hence why I lost so much weight, because I've been whole fruity what is a lot of work, and I burn calories. But my eating hasn't been good the past 3 months. I've been eating a lot of junk food, and I still lost. I'm down to like 260 now. Obviously, but I told you, because of whole food, I don't have energy to go on the treadmill. But if I get the Tim Hortons job, McDonald's job, A&W's, Tim Hortons, because the work is not tough for my body, now I can go on the treadmill every night for 7 days a week. And I can get down to my 195, 194 goal and get my first girlfriend, obviously. Don't hate me, Jim said, yeah. If he just gives you how you gonna ignore her, yeah. If he's just gonna keep seeing the guys and those guys behind my back and fucking them, I'm gonna ignore her. I'm gonna ignore you. I'm gonna see the chick too. There you go. Be mad at me. I don't want you seeing her, Ivan. Well, I'll only stop seeing you if you stop seeing those men. Oh, fuck you, Ivan. I know, VJ. You're selfish. You want your full cake. You think it's okay for you to see men behind my back and fuck them. It's not okay for me to see one chick and have a girlfriend, because you're fucking crazy, man. You have double standards in a relationship. You're a crazy woman. No, I'm gonna ignore you. I'm not gonna listen to you, man. Because you're gonna keep seeing those guys. So there you go. Don't hate them, son, yeah. And Ivan, beware the greedy agents in Hollywood. Yeah, if John Boyega's agent wants 20 million of the film profits, I'm like, John Boyega's not worth that. He gets his 8. Depends on how much he's worth by then. Let's say John Boyega's worth like 18 million. 18, 19 million by the time we do Xanus. And I can pay him maybe 9.3, and I can give him maybe 10 million of film profits, a bit more. If Jimon Su is worth maybe 20, 21, I can give Jimon Su his 10.3 instead of 9.9 of the film profits, a bit more. It depends how much they're worth. But chances are John Boyega will be worth maybe 16, 17 million. If he's worth 16, 17, if he's worth 17 million, you give him 8.5 or something like that. But 9 is good for John Boyega. He doesn't make that in Hollywood. Sarah? Makes like his 2 million in Hollywood, yeah. Watch out, Ivan, for the greedy Hollywood actors, agents, and managers. They're greedy pigs, man. They want to do whatever they can to make more money, obviously, right? And you gotta watch out for the agents and managers, Ivan, in Hollywood, the greedy pigs. Sarah? The greedy animals. Give me a sec, guys. I'm gonna go upstairs and get my coffee. We're back and say, who guys on the show? Scary, don't yeah, though. Alrighty, guys, I'm back. upstairs to get my coffee. Yeah. This video might be maybe an hour and 20 minutes. I'm done. I'm tired. I don't feel like talking this long, guys. Yeah, the Cobra 40 bosses, the Cobra 40 work is really getting to me, man. I come home, hence, but I'm not that as tired because I drove my younger brother's bike. But when I walk back home after working at Cobra 40, it's crazy, man. I'm so tired. Yeah. Because the Cobra 40 boss might tell me, Ivan, like, why are you leaving? Like, I can easily do dishes myself. Well, if you can easily do dishes yourself, why don't you do it? There's a reason why, if dishwashing is really easy for the boss, he would do the dishes, but he knows it's a lot of work. He doesn't want to do the dishes. Yeah, fuck that. I don't want to wash fucking dishes like 5 days a week. Fuck that. It's too much work on my body. Yeah, it's tiring shit, man. Especially when you close. He knows. The Cobra 40 boss knows closing at Cobra 40 is a lot of work, man. It's fucking crazy, man. Yeah. You have like mountains of dishes this big. Not all the time it's that big, but sometimes, especially weekends, you have a mountain of dishes like this big all over the dish tray. It's crazy. One time I ended at 5 o'clock. Because the boss sent Anthony home. I don't know why he sent Anthony home. And it took me like 2 hours and like 30 minutes to close. I ended at 5 o'clock one time. This is like a month ago. When I washed dishes, I ended at like 5 o'clock. It was crazy, man. Yeah. So much dishes, the other guys had to mop. The other guys had to mop. The other line guy had to mop the front because I had no time to mop it. I had way too much dishes to wash. And I was stressed out. I finished at 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock, guys. Yeah. 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 So John Boyega's agent might be greedy. Yeah, John Boyega might want $12 million for the movie. I'm like, oh, John, you're getting greedy, man. You get your 9. Stop being greedy, John. I get what else, man. I'm like, no, John, you get 9. Stop being greedy. It's a deal, man. I'll be making some Hollywood. I mean, yeah, you signed like your $20 million deal, John. That's a massive contract. That's how much Will Smith makes in Hollywood. Yeah. But because John lives in England, he's affected by the rates, obviously. But even in his English money, he's making a lot of money, more than what most actors make in Hollywood. He's making more than Oscar Isaac, Adam Driver, and Daisy Ridley, right? What they make in Hollywood, right? Yeah. Signed a massive deal, John. And that's why he'll destroy the role of Tacitonius. Your book is sick, man. I know, John. My book is sick. I said, yeah, I can't wait to be part of the movie, man. Your story looks sick, I know. It's a masterpiece. You guys will soon have me read my book. I wrote an amazing book. Yeah. Well, I seriously, man, what volume do you think most fans will like the best? Volume 2, probably. Something tells me it'll be Volume 2. Because volume 2 is the middle. It's the bridge of Volume 1 and Volume 2, right? So you can argue Volume 2 is the best. I like Volume 3 better, but Volume 3, you can argue, has the most stiff and more raw dialogue. But because you have the big climaxes of the story and the story gets dark, you can argue it's better than Volume 2. Whereas Volume 2, you can argue the dialogue is the best. It's the most, yeah. You can even argue Volume 1 is even better than Volume 2. It just depends how the art hits you, right? Some fans might like Volume 1 better than Volume 2. But I think most fans are probably going to like Volume 2 the best, I think. And some of the fans like Volume 3, and then some fans like Volume 1 the best. It just depends. But I think it's going to be a back and forth with Volume 2 and Volume 3, or maybe Volume 2 and Volume 1. I think it's most likely going to be a back and forth with Volume 2 and Volume 3. Because Volume 3 is when the story gets deep. When you read the Ephesus scene, it's going to blow your mind away. That's why you can argue Volume 3 is better. In the end war and the walking with the ancestors, that's when it gets deep. You can argue Volume 3 is the best. But you can also argue Volume 2 is the best. It just depends on how the art hits you, right? Yeah. Some Sarah? Yeah. My personal favorite is Volume 3. You can argue Volume 2 is better. It just depends how the art hits you. It's a back and forth for me, kind of, with Volume 2, Volume 3. But I like Volume 3 because Volume 3 is when the story gets dark and tactics is a changed man. That's why I like it the best. But you can argue Volume 2 is better. It just depends how the art hits you, obviously. Yeah. VJ will most likely like Volume 2 the best because she loves the character. I like Volume 2 the best. I love the character. I have a chapter called Lithia, right? A whole chapter which is mainly about her. Obviously. Yeah. 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 So, Sarah? Oh, Ivan, please, man. All the book was like, Ivan, please, man, write more books when you're king. I'm like, guys, man, my dream is not to be an author. My dream is to be a movie star. It's not being an author. I only wrote Xanus. I had no choice. The gatekeepers locked all the fucking doors on me. That's why I wrote my book. Otherwise, I never would have wrote Xanus, right? Yeah. In other words, my Xanus book is the pathway for me to now be a movie star because I now made my $12 billion off the book, and with that money I can now start Skies of with VJ. I can now fulfill my dream and be a movie star with VJ. For the Xanus movie, for the Great Escape. Yeah. Some Sarah? Yeah. Yeah. Ivan, what if you make 50 billion, 100 billion off your book? If I make 50, 100 billion off my book, I'll make Xanus for more money. I make Xanus for maybe $3 to $4 billion. $3 billion max. I won't be super my money. $3 billion. I'll put $1 billion towards each of the volumes, and like $650 million towards visual effects. My narrative and them are even more scary. But chances are I won't make that. I'll make my 10, 14, 20. So I'll put $2.1 billion into Xanus. That's $700 million per volume. That's already blowing Hall out of the water. I'll put $400 million towards visual effects and special effects for each of the volumes. That way Peter has an arm of the budget. You can do whatever he wants for the battle scenes, for the world building, for the horror, the wolves and bats. You can afford it. You need to get Peter Jackson on the budget or Mel Gibson, whoever I choose. It's important that they have an unlimited budget right now. It's very important. Some Sarah? Ivan, you're serious now? You're actually going over your book? Yeah, I started going over my book yesterday. I went over like 6, 7 pages yesterday. I polished up a few things in volume 3. Today I went like over another 5 pages. I'm gonna go over 5 pages. It'll take me a good maybe month and a half, and I'll finish going over volume 3. Because volume 3, in my opinion, needs the most polishing because some of my dialogue's a bit stiff, and it's a bit more raw than the other volumes. You can argue, right, when you read it. Because you have a lot of things going on, the big climaxes, and it gets very dark, you can still argue, even if it's a bit raw, you can argue it's the best one. Because the story gets very deep and dark. It's a dark episode of Take's life when you read the book, obviously. Whereas the other 2 volumes are lighter. Volume 3 is very dark. It's dark, man. And powerful and deep. That's why I wrote a masterpiece, yeah. So, Sarah? Yeah. So Eritol being the most heard movie history, yeah, you're looking at a devil. In the book, he's not that scary. But once I bring the demonic characters to life on the screen, on the big screen, when I adapt the book, you're looking at demons. The most heard movie history. It looks scary. Whereby you guys feel a little bit for me, and yeah, you actually feel for us a little bit. I felt for the Avengers with Thanos, right, in the Avengers movies, and Thanos was not scary, but he was very powerful. Because he was very powerful, you felt for the Avengers. Eratat's very powerful, he's formidable, and he's also horrifying to look at. That's why you're looking at a masterpiece, and he'll be the most horrific being in history. Looking at a devil, man. Yeah. A revolutionization of horror. It's real horror, yeah, real horror now. That's why Xanus will have crazy white buzz. And once the world sees Eratat in the trailer, right, yeah. And me and VJ and all the actors. You see John Boyega talk to me, he's like, cousin. I'm like, I don't know. No, saying, oh my God, Ivan, John Boyega, the guy from Star Wars. He's playing Tassitones. Yeah, the movie has crazy white buzz, man. Yeah, man. Yeah. So the Northerners really don't like the Southerners. No, you'll see what I mean when you read Volume 3. I polished up a few things yesterday. I'm in Secret Council and Surprising Arrival, which is arguably the worst chapter in Volume 3. That one you can argue has the most stiff of the dialogue. That's the chapter where I had a little bit of writer's block. I'm in the part when with the dispute, editing Volume 3, yeah. And I add a few things to make it more interesting. You'll wait till you see that scene. Yeah, the Northerners and Southerners don't like each other, man. They have this huge fight and everything, and dispute. And Takism have to what? Have to what? Yeah. So the Northerners see the Southerns as lesser people. Yeah, when you read my book, the Northerners see the Southerns as lesser people. Hence why in that scene with Job when Cassius and them and Tacitonius, when they were talking to Job, you can tell they were making fun of Job, like blazing the mental trees, hey Southern. Saying Cassius is like Tass enough. You can't expect Southern's exact the same personal traits and expressions. You can't expect the Southerns to be like us Northerns. And Job was like, oh, Northerns are so arrogant, yeah. How do I know you're no Southern thief? Yes, cousin. I was told not to trust Southerns. I said, yeah, now it's like I know they look down on Southerns, but I don't like the Southerns. Yeah, man. You'll see how many read on 3. The dispute when they arrive at the wall. It's actually funny. They don't like each other, yeah. They have this huge argument and everything. Yeah, they don't like each other, man. Yeah, man. Yeah. Was that? After this, I'm gonna take a nice hot shower. Kill time for my videos to get uploaded, right? And I'll watch some Perry Stone and, So if you're writing fantasy is difficult, yes. Because for fantasy, you have to create a fictional world and make it feel real. And you have to make your characters in that world feel real too. And you really have to be good at writing dialogue for like old English style speech, right? Because most fantasy novels, when you read it, the characters speak in old English style speech. Not old English. Old English is very different from modern English, but old English style speech, they speak a bit differently, right? They don't speak the way people speak now in the modern times. Obviously, as you guys read in my book, like most people don't speak like that nowadays. But what I do in my book, even though the characters speak old English style speech, I mix it with some modern words, as you guys read, obviously, with some modern words, obviously. But it's mainly old English style speech. You have to be good at writing dialogue for a fantasy world, right? You gotta be gifted, man. Yeah, it's tough. It's not easy. Yeah. So, Sarah? Well, Ivan, what's your best advice? Study the greats like Brandon Sanderson, George R. R. Martin, J.K. Rowling, Stephen Erickson, J.R. Tolkien. See how they wrote their books. Take creative writing classes. You can watch YouTube creative writing classes for free online on YouTube. So instead of paying a lot of money for a creative writing course, you can watch Brandon Sanderson's lectures on writing a novel. It's all on YouTube for you to watch, free of charge. Some Sarah? Yeah, and practice your writing. The number one thing is practice your writing. See how the greats wrote their books and practice your writing. Yeah, challenge yourself. Write maybe a 5,000, 10,000 short story fantasy book, and then have your peers review it. If you get bad reviews, ask them for advice. Okay, what do you recommend? And then they can recommend. Ask like English students to review your book. They can give you some advice here and there. And no, don't do that, because English students are not necessarily the best at writing novels. But like, if you get bad reviews, go back and change everything, and that's how you practice your writing. And watch Brandon Sanderson's lectures on YouTube. It'll help you out a lot, right? Yeah. I told you, I don't want to give you bullshit advice, man. If you don't have the creative gift, if you're not really that gifted creatively, you're going to have a tough time writing out fantasy. No, fantasy is not easy to write, man. It's very, very difficult. Because you have to build a fictional world and make your characters in that world feel real in that fictional world. Yeah. Because a lot of aspiring authors that write fantasy, they have amazing, beautiful writing, but their world building doesn't feel real. It feels a bit fake when you read it. They dump you with the landscape and everything, and there's something about this world building that doesn't really jump out. It feels a bit fake. I don't really believe it's a real world. Whereas my book, when you read it, you actually believe it's a real world. Because you have the Northerners and the Southerners, they don't like each other. You have the North and the South. It feels very real because I'm a genius. I want to tell an amazing story. Yeah, I mean, your world building is very vague, but it still jumps on the page because the characters make it jump on the page. Yes, the characters in my book make the world building jump on the page. I'm a genius. I wrote a masterpiece. That's why the gatekeepers want to control my brand. But Zero, the money off the books for me, it's not for you. You're not touching my money. There you go. Samsara? Yeah. 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 Ivan, your book, Ivan, will your book be more popular than Harry Potter? Of course it will, VJ. I'm the son of God, and my book is better than Harry Potter. And yeah, the Xanus book will be more popular than J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter. He'll beat it out. I'm gonna sell maybe 700 million copies, and I make like my 12 billion bucks off the book. Yeah, it'll beat out Harry Potter. Yeah. More popular IP than Harry Potter, more popular book series than Harry Potter. Then once I make the movie and I sell the merch in the game, it's like a $100 billion brand. It beats out Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Marvel, beats out all those brands. Number one brand in entertainment industry. That's why the gates won't control that brand. Because they know even if Ivan only makes 12 billion off the book and that's pocket change to us, Ivan the Man Victoria Justice with 12 billion in the bank with the keys to the kingdom has a lot of power. They can start their own film studio and sell their merch, their game, their movie. And that's like a $100 billion brand with the book, movie, game, and merch. $100 billion brand. It's huge. That's why they want to control it. Because they're greedy pigs. Even though all the trillions in the world goes to you, because you're a greedy animal, man. Zero, man. The brand's mine. It's not yours. You're not touching my brand. You're not touching my money. You want me to touch your money. You're not touching my money either. This money's for me, VJ. It's not for you. You have until the gates that I know what they know. Some sound. Yeah. Alright, if you think the movie will be better than the book, Yes, it'll be close. The book will almost be as good. Some fans might like the book better than the movie, right? But the movie will be better than the book because I'm acting as Prince Tactius, and VJ's Lithia, and Eric Tennant are going to be Devils and Demons, and you have all the visual effects and special effects of the battle scenes. The movie will be better than the book. But some some of the bookers might be like, no, I like the book better than the movie. I understand. The book's a masterpiece. There are some fans who might like the book, but maybe better than the movie, obviously, right? Yeah, because book nerds love books. Like Brian Durfee might like the book better than the movie, right? I highly doubt it because I'm bringing the character of Takius life. I am acting as Prince Takius and VJ's Lithia. The movie will be better than the book by a bit. It won't blow the book out of the water. It'll be close because the book's a masterpiece. But I think the movie will top the book. Yeah. But I have to write a good screenplay with Peter or Mal, which we will. If you follow the book, you're going to get an amazing screenplay. An amazing movie, yeah. My book's a masterpiece. And it's easy to follow page by page, whereas Lord of the Rings is very difficult to follow page by page. People will tell me, Ivan, your book is easy. Is really easy to follow page by page, whereas Lord of the Rings, you can't follow page by page. The movie will be a mess, yeah, because J.R.R. Tolkien has, like, Frodo and them walking, they camp for 2 days, and they meet this guy, then, like, 20 pages later, they meet another guy, they camp, they sleep. If you apply that word to word, it'll be a bit of a mess, right? And you have to do like a 6-movie series for that if you want to follow. To make Lord of the Rings, to follow Lord of the Rings page by page, you have to do like a 6-7 movie series. Hence why Peter Jackson had to cut out so many things in the movie. Because you can't cram all of Fellowship Ring into one movie. You have to cut out a lot of things. You have to cut out a lot of things. A lot of characters, a lot of scenes. He cut out a lot of stuff in the book, man. As you guys saw when I read the book a couple years ago, right? Yeah. Yeah. He's like, this is a masterpiece, man. This is better than Lord of the Rings. All right, no, it's better than Lord of the Rings. All right, seriously, man, how'd you come up with this story, man? This is better than J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. And it's better than J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. It's a masterpiece. Yeah. So Ivan, you do get Jesus symbols with Tactius? Yes, you do. When you read Volume 3, you'll find, see what I mean. You do get some Jesus symbols with Tactius. The agony scene in the garden, when he prays, yeah. He doesn't pray the way Jesus prays in the Bible, but in Volume 3, Tactius is such a changed man. He prays, man. He prays, yeah. He's in agony. Hence why, what a fucking masterpiece, man. Yeah. Obviously. So sorry. Here's Ivan, he's mature, and I was like, he prays, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, Ivan, looking at our Roxy's, man, like, you're a genius, Ivan. I know, Peter. This is better than my Lord of the Rings. No, Peter's better than Lord of the Rings. It's better than Lord of the Rings. I was like, yeah, it's a masterpiece. Yeah, man. It's a masterpiece. And that's why Volume 3 is my favorite. But that's when Taki's he's a changed man. He prays and everything. Yeah, he's not the same Takius that you read in Volume 2 and Volume 1, right? A cocky, arrogant prince. He's a different Takius. That's why I wrote a masterpiece. Yeah, man. How old is Takis in the book, Ivan? 30 years old? He's 8 years old in young Takis. 22 years later, he's 30. Tacitus is like 32 and a half, 33. Cassius and Maramis are in their 50s. Yeah, they're mid-50s around there. Lithia is like 28, maybe. 29, yeah. Eli is an old guy. Eli's like in his 60s, 70s. He's an old dude. I don't describe his age, but he's an elderly guy when you read the book, obviously. And Elizabeth is his wife. Belle is like the same age as Lithia. Mary is a bit older. Mary is like Takis' age. Maybe 30. Lithia and Belle are maybe 28. Papyri is like 28, 27, 28. Yeah. So, Sarah? Job is in his 50s too. You assume when you read the book, I won't spoil it for you, yeah. Or a masterpiece, man. Yeah, man. Well, I want you to have Takis on trial in the book because I don't want to ruin my story. Like, what I wrote is so good, I'm scared if I tamper with too much things, I could perhaps ruin it. I don't want to lose that spark. It'll still be a master, obviously, but I'm so protective of my story. I don't want to change too much things. I don't want to spoil my story, right? Obviously, just leave it the way it is. It's still entertaining when they arrest him in his bedroom, Takis, in volume 2. But in the movie, I can add stuff whereby he's on trial, like Jesus in Passion of the Christ, right? They arrest him in his bedroom, and they seize him, and then he's on trial, and they ask him the questions, obviously, and after that, they throw him in a dungeon. You can add things in the movie to make it more interesting. Because Ivan's Berg, you put him on trial in the movie to make it more interesting. Yeah, you add things to make it more interesting, obviously, in the movie. So, Sarah? Yeah. Ivan, I like Lord of the Rings and Way of Kings and Game of Thrones better than your book. Your book was a bit raw. I didn't really like Volume 3. Volume 3 was a bit raw. You took it on a different direction, a big plot twist. I like Lord of the Rings better. If you like Lord of the Rings better, I understand. Don't hate me, I'm saying. But be honest. When you read my book and read Lord of the Rings, what's more entertaining? My book's more entertaining read, man. Yeah, man. I showed you guys sections of my book, and you guys read Lord of the Rings. All you guys on Fantasy read it. You guys read Lord of the Rings, and what book is more entertaining when you read it? Lord of the Rings may have richer world building, richer descriptions of the landscape and the characters and the sword and the door, and the choice of words is richer, the language of the elves, but the story is not as entertaining as my book. My book's more entertaining, and I wrote the better book than J.R.R. Tolkien, right? Don't hate me, J.R.R. Tolkien. I'm saying, yeah. Because even though J.R.R. Tolkien was a genius, he doesn't have the heavenly gift. That's why my book is more entertaining than his book. It's better, yeah. I'm sorry. At the end of the day, it comes down to entertainment, right? Even if J.R.R. Tolkien has richer world building, richer descriptions, richer word choices and all stuff, my story is more entertaining. His story is a bit more dry, it's a bit more boring. Yeah. My story stands out more. It's more entertaining. Yeah. Yeah, when you read Ivan's book and Lord of the Rings, it's like night and day. Lord of the Rings is a masterpiece, but it's a bit dry and the characters are a bit dull. It's a bit boring. It's a bit of a slog to get through when you read it. Whereas Ivan's book's more vague. His worldbuilding is not as rich. He doesn't have the language of the elves and everything, but fuck, it's entertaining. Yeah. At the end of the day, it comes out to entertainment. If you entertain the reader more, you wrote the better book, right? And that's why Xanus is a better book than Lord of the Rings. As my stepmother told me, Xanus is number 1. There you go. Number 1. Yeah. Yeah. Is your book dark, Ivan? Yes. Children die in my book, man. That's how dark it is. As you guys read in that passage with what was Cyrus no more, right? Yeah, children died in that passage. They murdered the wolves killed the children. You also have to see in the caverns too. I'll tell you this: in the end of Volume 2, Exit of Saphius, in the end of that chapter, Taki says, "Yeah, my fear is some children might not see the North for themselves." And some of the children, this is not a spoiler. Obviously, some of the Saphians die in the caverns. Some children in the caverns die by the bats. That's why Taki's like, yeah, my fear is some of these children, these innocent children, they won't see the North for themselves. That's where you get some biblical symbolism in the Bible. Jesus saves people from hell. Tacius saves the Southerns from Aratat's landmarkings, and he saves them from the cursed south, and they get to live with him in his heavenly kingdom, just like those who Jesus saved, they have to live with him in his heavenly kingdom. That's where you get a lot of symbolism with Xanus. Sounds Ivan, I caught that. Yeah, a lot of biblical symbolism with Xanus, man. Yeah. It's not in your face biblical symbolism. It's a fancy story, but you can get some biblical symbolism from Xanus when you read the book right. Yeah, some children may not see the North. Taki says in the end of the chapter. It's almost full story. That's why I wrote a masterpiece. Yeah, and Cassie's like, I know, cousin, I know. You know, it's like, yeah, a sick movie. Yeah, a sick book, right? I wrote a masterpiece, man. Yeah. That's why I wrote a masterpiece. And that's why the gates were considered bad, but zero. The money on the books from me, BJ, it's not your money. You have your trillions in your bank, and the trillions in the world goes to you. You're not touching the billions on my book. This is for me and my wife, BJ. It's not for you. Don't hate what I'm sending you out. Yeah. Ivan, what's the reaction when the Southerns arrive in the North? Some of them are crying, tears of joy. You know, oh my God, we're in the North, the Heavenly Kingdom. Yeah, imagine applying it onto the screen, man. You have the cursed South, the gray sky. They go through the mist, and they're in the North. And the North is a beautiful kingdom. The Southerns never been to the North. Most Southerns never been to the North, man. And when they arrive to Xanus, they're also shocked by its beauty and everything too. Yeah, the beautiful Heavenly Kingdom in the North. It's raining outside, I think. Yeah, that's why I wrote a masterpiece. You're gonna see VJ, she's a Southern. Yeah, she's a Southern woman, yeah. Obviously. Yeah, the daughter of Eli, the powerful man Eli. Eli is the most powerful man in the South when you read the book, right? Yeah. Very wealthy, yeah. Obviously. Is Eli as rich as Tacitus? No, he's not. But he's a very wealthy man, too. He's a wealthy man. He has a huge house, as you guys read, right? He has a banquet hall with 100 guests, as you guys read in that scene, right? With Lithia. No, I think I skipped that part. But when you read that chapter, the Lithia chapter, Eli, when Tacitus, Sirius of Apari, go downstairs to eat dinner in his house, obviously, he has a celebration in his house. A banquet, a lot of banquet hall celebrations in my book, right? And he has 100 guests in his house. So you do the math how rich he is. If someone has a house where he has 100 guests in his house, that guy's obviously rich, but he's not as rich as Tacitus, obviously. And Tacitus and Cassius, those guys are the royal family. They're loaded, man. Yeah. Tacitus's family, all of them are worth maybe 200 million. Eli's worth maybe his 35 million or something like that, 40 million or something like that. I'm just making up numbers here. He's wealthy, but he's not as wealthy as obviously Tactius, right? All of them, but he's very wealthy. And Lithia is a spoiled daughter, and Bella and Mary are spoiled too. They live with Lithia. It's raining, guys. Yeah, that's why I wrote a masterpiece. Stupid rain. Yeah. Yeah. Is Aratat rich? I don't describe Aratat's wealth in the book because Aratat's an animal. I don't describe Ephesus and Aratat's wealth in the book. I only describe the Northerns and the Southern's wealth. Because Aratat and them are animals. When you read the book, I say the wolves are not as primitive. The wolves are more primitive than the humans when you read the book. Obviously. Like the scene in Volume 3, this is all I'm going to say. When Aratat arrives to Savage, obviously, the wolves, they cut down trees with their weapons, obviously, and they make camp and they sit on the tree trunk. So the wolves are more primitive than the humans, right, when you read the book. I don't describe Aratat's wealth in the book because he's an animal. Only the humans I describe the wealth, obviously. Guys, you know what I was just saying, yeah. Because like in Lord of the Rings, the orcs don't really have wealth, right? The ring race, the Witch King of Agma, like Jared Tolkien doesn't describe his wealth. That's why I don't describe the wealth of the animal characters. But in Lord of the Rings, Jared Tolkien describes the wealth of the humans, the elves, the dwarves, yeah, but he doesn't describe the wealth of the orcs, right? So you have a similar example there. I mean, that's what you're saying, yeah. That's why Xanus will be the best novel ever written, guys. Anyways, guys, here's where I talked for an hour and 27 minutes. That's good enough. It's raining. It's raining hard. Hope you guys enjoyed this show. Stay tuned. I'll make a video tomorrow after my shift at over 40. Desire the Mayor. I'm signing off. Peace. Stupid rain.